This
start a shit
conference
storm
will
on.
now be
No,
recorded.
Too
damn
late.
it.
he
I
knew
promise I
you
hit
was
it
gonna
before
say
you said
something.
it. Now, I promised I had the modem window pulled up before you said that. I did. I didn't do it anyway.
Well, I'll
Um,
just make you have to ask a bunch of tech support questions then. Um,
that's fine.
Thunder's new Thunder China's new YouTube video on the Thunder Cam. Have you seen it?
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's nothing like the Thunder Cam. It's a square little box.
Well, it's probably an ELP camera
Yeah.
if it's square, but they're still good. We used those at the beginning.
Yeah, that's what
They
Thunder China is showing, and they show the light burn calibration for it and everything.
Hmm.
talking about these things.
Yeah, we used to use those all the time. The
ELP,
little
Yeah,
ELP.
ELP. Yep.
yeah, they
They're
actually.
awesome. Like this one's got autofocus and auto
Yeah.
uh backlight detection and all that stuff. It's pretty neat.
I sort of like how they have it attached though, because there's no adhesive or nothing. They're actually
Well,
taking the bracket out of the upper or the upper glass bracket,
yeah.
and they're
Yep.
basically reusing those screws to reattach it to the glass bracket.
Yeah, you can do it on the 35, but like on the 51, there's not one of those brackets central. There's because there's 4 instead of 3. But yeah, on the ELP camera that I bought, the factory bracket that came with the camera fit those 2 screw holes.
Yep.
So yeah, we went to that before we went to Lightburn camera, but we're
Well,
gonna be sourcing our own just because we need more volume,
well,
and that way we can maintain it.
sort of made me wonder with them posting that, is Thunder going to start including a camera with them posting that video?
We had been talking about, and that Odin 22 that I got had a factory camera on it. It was a Lightburn cam, but it had a factory camera on it. But then they went away from that because some people want different cameras, some people have different setups, But it has been talked about having them add all the cameras on the machines at the factory for us. We have discussed that. It didn't ever go anywhere, but that doesn't mean that it won't. So. But the new mounts are starting to go out. They only go one way, and you can't break them. I say that, yeah, you can break them, but
I
not.
didn't get one. I know you tried to get me to send me one. They didn't send me one of those.
Well, I'm gonna
I
get
didn't
you
get
one
one.
set that way.
I didn't get one either.
I got
Did
the
you?
did get the correct camera replacement,
Okay.
but they didn't send me the new bracketing stuff like that. So,
I don't think they're putting them out yet, but I'll get you one,
but it
and
was
you
a
can.
world of difference
Yeah.
between that camera and the 120 on that bed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Have you
it's
calibrated it yet?
yeah. I calibrated it, but I've been dealing with other stuff, so I've not been after I calibrated. I've not been able to really run it through its courses, closing the lid, opening the lid, seeing if that's going to solve the issue or not.
Yeah.
But as far as focusing, yeah, I can actually lay a remote in there and actually read what the remote says now. Versus,
Yeah.
remember how we couldn't really read what the lettering said at all?
Right. Yeah, well, the
Speaking of
aspect
remote,
ratio that 120, well, the aspect ratio is the same. It's got the same sensors. The only difference between the 85 and the 120 is the lens, and the actual mount for the lens is a little bit different, but the camera module is the same. But yeah,
I got a
you don't have so
question.
much real estate. Yeah, go ahead, man.
Has Thunder or either Global or USA thought of putting the remote with the lasers or offering that?
Kinda. I mean, I've got the Android app for a free download on the site, and you can just use your phone if it's networked.
No, I'm talking about
But
the little
I know
handheld, like some of
Well,
the other
pendant, right?
companies.
honestly, most of those buttons are in
It's
Lightburn. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's neat to be able to autofocus and move the bed and jog and stuff like that.
well
You know,
the biggest benefit that I've found, because I've used it on all my different machines, but the biggest one is on the bigger beds when you're in there trying to line something up instead of reaching up and feeling for the buttons and looking and all this stuff. You just have the remote right there. You jog it left and right, up and down, whatever.
right?
Makes it really handy that way for the bigger beds, like the
Sure.
24 or something like that. It's real easy just to kind of
Just
do your
put your
thing. But
put your braille overlay over top of your screen on the side, and then you don't have to worry about it.
right,
Just integrate voice commands, right?
that's just something else you got to learn.
Yeah, yeah. But
But no, I was just curious because I know a
yeah,
couple other
see, yeah.
people
See,
use it. But
Yeah, I kind of like the way Thunder's approach has been, where they stick to one platform that works, and there's some innovation there, but they don't just. I mean, there's neat things like dual air assist, and then there's bells and whistles, but you start adding too many bells and whistles, and stuff starts breaking that really
Just
doesn't
like
matter if it
cars.
breaks or not. Yeah, same thing. So, I don't know. I mean, yeah, it can be helpful. I was trying to see if I did have that.
Yes, Travis, that's a badass view.
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah, I seen it as soon as I flipped on. I'm like, he's showing his new camera.
Yeah,
That's cool.
I
Show
actually,
off.
let's see. Yeah, I've got that. It's at the bottom of, if anybody wants to try the Android app. I don't think there's an Apple app for it, but if anybody wants to try the Android app, I'll link it.
All right, who's playing music?
Who's paying opera?
Not me.
It's making my ears hurt.
It says Rick. Rick. Hey,
Uh,
Rick.
which, let me turn my
Rick.
screen off.
I think it's Rick, Brian.
It
You
is. It's
want to
Rick.
mute him
Yeah, I
for a
could.
minute. There you go.
There's the app for the Android thing, and I thought I had a better picture of it, and maybe I did somewhere.
So what is this?
Need a
Basically just
remote.
where you can lay your phone inside the bed and operate it from.
Yeah, it's a
Or-
wireless controller. It's kind of like, how cranes, you've
Yeah.
got
Yeah,
the
that's the
remote.
controller I'm talking about right there.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I know. That's why I pulled it up. That's what he's talking about, and it's really cool. It's also pretty darn expensive. Well, not really. Relatively, it's not. I mean, not when you're talking about a $10,000 laser, but I forget how much it costs. Is it on here? Yeah, what,
I
about
don't
$100
remember
or something?
myself.
But the Ruida app, if you have your computer networked, you can use the Ruida app on an Android device, and it has all those buttons on it. It's just an app, and it's free.
Did you put that link
So,
in the chat?
I haven't, but I will, and I need to write more on it. But it's at the bottom of the wireless thing. I'll copy this art. Just go to the bottom of the article and copy, and it'll download it right then. It's an APK file, so you'll have to bring it in and probably allow developer access, to be able to install it on the phone. But I've checked it; it works. I have it on my phone; it works good. I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah, and that does it directly through the Ruida, or are you going back through the computer and into the?
It goes through the Ruida. It goes into the spare port. I think it's the.
Okay.
I'd have to look at it
'Cause-
to remember,
'cause
but it goes in the
another
top.
way-
The top port.
Another way you can probably do it is how you do on some like I've got one on my CNC machine, which is a little Bluetooth like miniature keyboard, and you've got hotkeys for the jog and the Z up and down. Let's go
Yeah.
to look at.
Oh, okay. That one interfaces the RS-232 port on the Ruida.
Yeah.
It looks like.
Yeah,
So.
it goes into. There's two plugs. There's one that's the power positive negative,
Mhm.
and then you have one that goes to the actual. I can't remember what port. I'd have to look at my laser to see.
Yeah.
But it goes to one of the control ports on the Ruida.
Yeah. Now on the app, Jeremy, if you're asking about that too, the app does not need to go through a computer. It's right off the network. So you just connect your phone to the wireless network, or to the network you're on, and it communicates directly with the DSP is what I'm getting at. So on that one.
That's interesting.
Cool. Oh, I don't know how long ago I turned my screen off. I was scrolling through stuff trying to follow along. So, all right. Well, like I said, if anybody has any questions, feel free to just jump out and ask them, or we'll sit here and talk about all kinds of stuff.
Hey, you guys have any recommendations for a camera that's strictly just used for monitoring so that you can kind of watch what's going on in the machine without having to stand over it?
On the
Right.
51s with the 120 and the lid closed, the Lightburn camera actually has a pretty good view of most of the work area. And you could use that one, but if you want a separate one, a lot of people use those Wise or Waze, the little, any of those little smart cameras. that you can, like Internet of Things devices
I just
would
I
work.
just use like a ring camera or something that connects directly to your network, and it's easy to look at. There's also, I've been talking to Brian. There's that controller and stuff I sent you, Brian, or
Mhm.
where you can send video over Ethernet, and you can
Right.
actually put two cameras on it and actually view them remotely from wherever
Mhm.
your location is.
You
Like,
could
so
do
if
it
I'm
like,
sitting at my
neat.
desk in front of my computer, I can monitor it on my computer screen and
yeah,
Yep.
Well,
Or like
like
I have,
if you have your Lightburn camera in there, you can do that with the preview.
yeah.
right.
But here's this Wise camera. Yeah, I mean they're $40, and they hook up to your network and work with all the Internet of Things.
you could
Um,
If you, if you
you
don't
could do it
mind
like
running some
Travis. You
cabling,
could do it like Travis and put
I've
one on the
got
ceiling right
GoPros in
above your.
mine.
You got a GoPro?
Yeah, I
I
have
got
GoPros in each
if you
one of my
have a
lasers.
if you have a security system or something, I have a security system, so I have one that's dedicated to the laser area there. So if I have to step away to the office, I can kind of keep an eye on things. Not that that's recommended, but
Right.
that's what I have it there for, just in case I need it.
I
You
was
can
trying to
also
keep
use
it,
Ring. You
under a
can
few $100s. I mean, I know that, I mean, the Lightburn cameras, how much does that setup cost?
well, if you get the Thundercam kit, it's 400, but the Lightburn camera in a mount, I think, is what, $130,
Right.
$140,
something like
something like
that.
that.
Yeah.
I'm looking
Like
for
I
like
said,
a,
you can get that Wise. You can get the Ring for, I think, the Ring stick up. It's like
Yeah,
60
even
bucks
pet
or something, 80
cams.
bucks.
I mean, there's any number of, some people use cordless baby monitors, pet cams. You could use any array of any of those $40 cameras that are
okay.
wireless that you
Yep.
find on
Do you have
Amazon.
Do you have an old cell phone?
Yeah, that'll
I
work
do.
too.
I do. That'll
Lay an
work.
old
Yeah.
lay an old cell phone right on top of the laser itself, and
Yeah, you can transmit. There's a little app where you can transmit
Yeah,
using
you'd
the
have to get
camera
an IP
wirelessly.
camera over IP
Right. Right. Okay. Good
port.
idea.
Hey
And then all
Brian,
you do
for
is go on
the
your web browser and type in that IP address, and you can pull the camera up there.
what's the camera you recommend for the 35? Is that the 85 degree?
The 85. Yeah, the
yeah,
4K W85.
don't use the 120.
Cool.
Okay, so for the 35, you're saying that you would recommend the 85 camera from Lightburn?
Correct. Let me pop the thing back up. We've got a document on it. Let's see. Thundercam versus Lightburn, and I'll put this in the chat. So if you want the link, you can have it. So right now, yeah, it's the 4K W85 for the Mini 60, Nova 24, and Nova 35, and then it's the 4K W120 for the 51 and the 63, and it would also be the 85 for the Odin series. And I'm using an 85, I think, on my Aurora Fiber also. So it's one or the other. So yeah, unless you have a Nova 51 or a Nova 63, it's going to be the 85 camera.
Okay,
Have you-
cool. Because I'm sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt. Sorry about that.
No, go ahead.
I like it when the lid is open and it gives you a top-down view. I don't have my 35 yet. It's on a container ship coming over, but I've looked at a billion videos about everything that Thunder has to offer, and I just can't wait for this stinking thing to get here. But the one thing that I do like is when the lid is up, you've got an overview of the job, and then it focuses and all that other stuff, and so you can
Right.
see everything that you need to see. And then as to what Arthur was suggesting or asking, when you drop the lid down, it's at such an angle that now you can see a side view of the laser of what it's actually cutting and engraving and whatever. And if a fire did break out, you could see it right then and there on your computer. So it kind of does both things at once, and it's a heck of a lot cheaper than the Thunder Cam. So that's the way I'm going to go. I just got to order it.
Right. Right. Yeah. Now on the 35, I've got an 85 degree on my 35, and when the lid is closed, if you're working up real close to the front, you can't see the gantry. You know what I mean? The view is a little more limited. than it would be on the 51 and the 63. On the 51 with that 120 camera, you can see, I think, practically the entire bed, even with the lid closed, you know, at an acute angle, of course. But yeah.
So, hey, Brian, is it worth, do you think it's worth me upgrading? Because my 63 is still running that original beta camera, the DLP style. Do you think it's, is it worth upgrading to the new 8 meg?
Oh gosh, yes. That thing that you got's like a 2 meg, isn't it, or something like that?
I don't know. It's not very much.
Yeah, man. Yeah, if you go with that 4K, go with the 8 megapixel, it will be a world of difference.
Okay, yeah, because I know in my Boss I've got a 5 megapixel camera in my Boss. But in that one I did something kind of tricky, and I was going to play around with Thunders and see if it would work the same way. My Boss, I mounted my camera in the back instead of on the front, and so it shines forward. I had to do manual calibration on it to get it to lay flat and correctly, but it works really well, and it never moves because it's all the way on the back wall. So I was going to play around with one of the Thunders and see how that would work on.
Yeah, that's doable. The only thing, like a lot of people mount the cameras backwards, you know, so the preview's upside down. So it doesn't really matter the placement of the camera. Lightburn will figure that part out when you go to project those test patterns. You know, the 1, 2, 3, 4. If your camera's upside down, it'll automatically know. So in Lightburn, after it's aligned correctly, it will show up properly in your overlay. It's just that your preview will be upside down.
Yeah.
But yeah, any angle you put it at, as long as it has a good view of the work area, you know, it doesn't, you know, it's pretty amazing at the optical yoga that it can do, I guess would be a good way to put it.
And just make sure every time you lift your lid that you lift it to a little bit different height, right?
Yes, always hold on to the lid and yeah, no, let go of it and let it go up on its own, because even the temperature can affect that. You know, if the shocks are hot one day and cold the next, the pressure changes inside those pneumatic cylinders, and that can even affect it. So yeah,
can't see him having that problem up in Alaska.
Yeah, no.
Temperature change.
It's warm up here. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
What did you hit 10 degrees today?
So I tell you what. Here.
Wait, hold on. We've almost hit our high. It is currently -3 outside.
Oh, nice. So our temperatures aren't that cold, but like last week, one day it was 70. The next night there were tornadoes across the whole state, and then the next night we had 7 inches of snow. You know. So
I kept waiting for them to have snow-nados.
Yeah.
I was watching that going, man, come on, I just want to see a snow-nado.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. We just have fun things like wind chill advisories. A town 40 minutes north of us, they had sustained winds of 60 to 80 miles an hour with gusts to 90 to 130 for 4 days straight.
Yeah,
and so what is y'all's frost line regulation there?
So our frost line depends on where you're at. So like a house foundation has to be 5 foot down and then the footer below that. And
what
then
about the
our frost line, like on city streets, because traffic drives the frost down, will hit 8-9 feet. The minimum depth for water lines is 10 at the top.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but do you guys have permafrost up there or no?
Areas of it. In Anchorage, where I'm at, we don't have very much left. So I actually manage a building that was on one of the only areas of permafrost here, and it took it had to be tented and heated for 2 years to thaw out the ground enough to build on it.
Wow.
You know, with all that
I know they
global
usually
warming
they pipe the steam down in there too. They drill the holes and they pipe steam through it and everything to thaw it out.
Yeah, the permafrost is usually a little bit farther north though.
Oh.
Yeah, with all that global warming, Travis will be like Hawaii in a few years.
Dude, our weather's been so screwy up here.
Well, it's like right now in Florida, it's like, well, it was in the high 80s last week. Now it's in the 60s. It was in the 40s 2 days ago. And next week it's back up to the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, some of Travis's weather come down for vacation.
Right?
Has to be it.
So with 100 mile an hour wind, what's the wind chill factor if it's -3 on the dial?
We were at so up here we rate them in what's called phase conditions, and we were at phase 2 out in Wasilla, and so I think their wind chill was hitting about -50 or so,
That's nothing.
And there was advisories that if you go outside with exposed skin, you would have frostbite and possibly be fatal within 10 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, I sent Jim some of the pictures of the aftermath of the storm out there. I mean, there was seriously, like, there was sheds just blowing down the highway, just tumbling over.
Boats, airplanes.
Yeah, airplanes were just flipped over that were tied down and everything, parked, tied down, and they still flipped. We had buildings, their sprinkler lines were just snapping and just flooding out everything. Windows and doors just blowing straight out of buildings. It was nuts.
Yeah, I dared
Was
Travis
that like
to go
an
outside.
unusual snap?
What was that?
Was that an unusual snap, or is that
It's
regular
not
through the
normal for
winters?
here. Typically, Anchorage is usually pretty mild. We very rarely get down below zero, but this winter's been brutal on us. It gets warm and snows a bunch, and then just gets freezing cold again. But yeah, normally, we're between 5 and 25 degrees all winter long.
Wow. And see, here, I needed to take my can out to the road the other night when that blizzard came. And instead of getting my feet and everything and shoes wet, I just took my socks off and pulled my pants legs up and just went out there barefooted because, I had to go like
Done
10
that.
feet and then come back in. But I couldn't do that up there with you, man. I'd have to dress up and have Ugg boots and all kind of stuff.
It's funny when you're up here, once it hits 20 degrees during the winter, you see people outside walking around in shorts and t-shirts with no jackets, nothing.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, I'll do that as long as there's no wind. I'll grill steaks in 5 degrees if the wind's not blowing too hard in my shorts. But yeah,
Yeah, we used to do that.
I've decided as I get older, I don't like the cold.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
when I was up in. Okay.
I was gonna say, lately we've been looking at some nice warmer spots because originally we wanted to retire at a little town called Homer, which is about 5 hours south of here, and it's pretty close to where our cabin is. But lately we've been looking at Panama, so a little warmer down there.
From blizzards to hurricanes.
Yeah, but if you look at Panama, Panama's a really unique place for anyone who wants to retire, because they have some really cool laws down there. One, their native language is English. You buy and sell everything with U.S. dollars. Their actual currency mirrors the U.S. dollar 1-to-1. They have things like some of their tax laws down there is there's no tax on foreign income. So if I was to leave my businesses running here, I only have to pay U.S. tax on it. I don't have to pay tax a second time down in Panama. So a bunch of little things like that. That, and I can buy an island with a house on it for $120,000. That's kind of nice.
That's not bad at all.
You can barely buy property for that around here.
Mm-hmm.
It's
about an
getting
island.
bad. It's getting bad. It's getting bad down here. Everybody moving in, transplanting from everywhere is driving the price of everything up around here so bad it's not even funny.
Yep. No, same with Anchorage. Our prices are out of control up here. So like our house was it's a little over $500,000, and it's not that big of a house. It's like 2,500 square feet on 0.09 acres, and my lot has 5 neighbors that touch it.
Wow.
Yeah, our prices went from, we bought this house 6 years ago, I think it was. Yeah, 6 years ago this January, 165, I think is what we paid for it, and now we're approaching 400. That's just,
Yeah.
it's good for us,
Brian.
bad for taxes. But
Yeah.
No, nothing.
Oh,
I was
I was looking at my tickets.
Oh.
Sure.
Yeah.
he's got one of the, you remember the old style bar or restaurants where they used to put the tickets underneath the little clips?
But it spins.
Yeah, that's what Brian's got above his head.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah,
I got several of those things, little bead boards or
I work at
things.
Mel's Diner.
Yeah, that's it. That's
I
the
got the
name
little
of the
bell.
place.
Ding, 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 ding. But all right. But yeah, if y'all have any machine questions, please interrupt us. We like to have a good time. But if you
I
have
got
something,
I got one more for you, Brian, because I've been having a few people reach out to me asking me this lately, and I honestly don't know the answer. For someone who wants a chuck rotary, is there
Don't do it.
For the newer machines, how do those work? Can you just get a cheap Chinese one off of AliExpress, or?
No, we have a chuck rotary with our motor on it. We offer a chuck. China, that's the only thing you get with if you order a chuck. If you order a rotary direct from China or a lot of the other places, that Rotoboss is just Thunder USA only. We adopted that, to have a better solution.
Gotcha.
But yeah, we can still get them. They can get them from Thunder China. So.
Okay.
Yeah, the actual Rotoboss nearly eliminates the need of a chuck. Not talking about the Junior, the dual lift. The dual lift one nearly eliminates the need for a chuck anymore.
This is let me pop the screen up real quick. Maybe it'll be the right screen. I don't have anything you shouldn't see up, I don't think, but that's one of these deals. It's the standard one. Now they have legs on them, adjustable feet, kinda little things that you can toggle down on the sides, and you can raise one side up if you need to get that slant. If you have something tapered in there. But it's just.
I don't want to talk bad about your guys' stuff, but that thing looks janky and chintzy.
That looks
well.
horrible.
That's why we don't sell it. It's not on the site.
Up until about 2 years ago, that's all you had.
Yeah. Actually, since you guys were talking, sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay. Sorry. Actually, you guys were talking about the rotaries right now. I bought a rotary. It's on 6 to 8 week back order too. Oh, my phone died. I'm on my wife's phone. Anyways, we bought one of the Junior rotaries, and one of the guys, I don't see him on here today, but he's got a Thunder 24, and he does a lot of YouTube videos. Older guy, white beard.
Robert.
There you go. We'll stick with Robert. And Robert talks about just basically shimming up the front of it, the side that's non-adjustable, and just shimming it up a little bit to make it so that it's level. Because my wife wants us to do wine tumblers, I think is what they're called, and where the opening is thinner than the base. And so that would totally not work on the Junior the way it's set up, because the Junior only has the tail of it is adjustable. So I know that shimming it is probably a little bit of a pain in the butt, but at the same time, once you get the first one dialed in, if you're making 5, 10, 20, whatever, they're all good after that, right?
I've done wine tumblers on the Junior.
Yeah, there's also for the Junior. You also have available. It's on my site, but the slave wheels. There's the smaller ones that are used for the low roller that you can get for the Junior, and that allows your object to drop lower into the arm, so you can do stuff like that without having to shim it and everything. But ideally the Rotoboss is more designed for that kind of stuff, because you can adjust both sides, so you don't have to worry about that and flipping it around or anything like that. You still have your clamping ability and such. So, but for the Junior, you can prop up the motor side, or like I said, the smaller wheels are available to help compensate for that, to be able to do stuff like that. I think Brian Wright said he had done some before too.
Yeah.
If you use the stemless wine glasses, I don't remember having to prop anything.
Yeah, stemless you don't. And even the wine glasses, me and Brian talked about this before, is instead of having the rotary spread apart and riding it on the heel or the base of the glass, you slide it up to the back side of the flute.
Right.
And it does two things. One, it makes it so it's easier to do. You take the heel plate off, of course, with the thumb screw on it. Take that off, slide it all the way up to the bottom of the flute. So one, it allows you to adjust it better, more precisely, and also it acts as a wedge to help keep it up against the clamp mechanism so it doesn't walk.
Yeah, that's how I did it with the Junior.
Yeah.
And if you do decide, if you decide to go ahead and shim it, that's how I usually do mine. Is I shim it. Grab a sheet of Baltic birch of the 1/8 inch and just cut a bunch of pieces that are 1 inch by 10 inches, and they'll fit under the legs perfect. and you actually want to over shim it so that side sits up higher, and then you can level it out with the wheel on the other side and get it dead on every single time. If you try to get it level with just shims, you'll be there for days. But yeah, just cut out a bunch of pieces of
there you go.
yep, just a bunch of
And then
pieces of
also,
1" by 10" Baltic birch.
and also for the junior,
That's
for
the
those of
better
you
way
adventurous types,
tail end to lift.
You're breaking up, bud.
You can.
you're breaking up, Jamie.
Okay, yeah, I know. We're driving. Yeah, that would make sense. You raise the front end up more, and then you would able to dial it in on the tail end with the adjustable stock. I'm looking at the rotary, first of all, is $1,000, and then you add in the Boss one, and it's $1,400 or whatever. That extra $400 isn't a lot, but it is, because now I can get either the 4-inch nozzle or the high res nozzles for free. So that's the way I'm looking at it, just money wise, I guess.
Now another thing too, since we're on the rotaries, for the 24 particularly, here probably March, April timeframe, the 24 will then be able to accept the Rotoboss or the Junior as well. I got brackets made that allow you to drop it down in, and that way you can use any of the machines that you want in it with those brackets. So you won't be stuck with just the low roller. I mean, obviously, the low roller works good for what it's made for, which is tumblers and things like that. But just to kind of make everything a little bit more versatile with the lasers and whatnot, that'll be available probably somewhere around first part of April. But also, what I was going to say, if you're having problems leveling it, say you have a really odd water bottle, like a gallon water bottle, or whatever they are with a really skinny neck. On the Junior, if you look at the lifting mechanism, you'll see the plate with the brass backlash nuts on it. If you take that, if you really need to go a little bit higher, you can get about another inch of lift off of it by taking that bracket and flipping it over. So you take the screw out of it, flip the bracket over, and put the screw back in it, and you'll get another inch of height. But you'll lose an inch on the bottom. So it kind of depends on what you're doing. If you're doing a lot of something, it might be worth it. It's fairly easy to swap it over. But that's one way to get a little bit more height out of it. And there's also extensions you can get as well. I don't have them for the lifting mechanism yet, but you can lift it basically double the height of what it is. So if you have something that really needs some major adjustments or changes, there are options available. And if you guys, anybody watching this or you guys here, if you ever have any questions or things that you come across that you can't quite get with it, feel free to reach out to me, and I'll make changes or modifications to something, or even make something special if you need it for a specific purpose. So those options are available as well.
I got a question real quick, Jason. Since you're talking about that,
Yeah.
if you make the Junior and the Roto work in all the machines except Odin, you might still need the Junior for Odin if it's got an aluminum and if it doesn't have blades. Does that mean for the most part we're not gonna offer the low roller anymore, just the Junior like we used to do?
The low roller will still be available until I run out of supply.
Okay.
But probably once I get these pieces in and see how well received it is or not, then we'll probably do away with it altogether and just offer the Junior and the Rotoboss, because one, it's so hard to keep up on 3 different rotaries with parts and pieces and stuff.
I know what you mean. That's why I like these Thunders, because all the Novas use the same parts, across the board. I like keeping it simple. The other thing, real quick, is those 3D printed mounts that go from the lead screw in the back to the sled, those ones that had a habit of snapping. Is there any way you could jot a note to maybe send me a handful of those? I'll pay you for them if I need to or whatever. I've got a few people that I'd like to send a couple of them out to, and that way you won't have to deal with it.
I've sent a couple out actually today. A couple sets went out.
Okay. Because
Yeah,
I've
most of
got
the
one or
time when
two
that
people,
happens,
but you want me to just
if
forward
it
them to
gets
you?
bumped, yeah, it's fine. I mean, I can send
I
them
mean,
to you if you want to do that, but
I don't
I'm
mind,
just as happy
and it's
sending them
this
out.
kind of thing. I don't even care about warranty thing. I'll buy them from you, and if somebody has a broken one, I'm gonna send it to them. You know what I'm saying?
No, I mean it's all
So
covered under warranty. So
yeah,
anything
so
from June or July of 2021.
yeah. Well, I got all those parts you gave me, and I had a few of those, and I got through them. But I'm happy. It was like Christmas time when I
Yeah,
opened that box and you had all that stuff. I was like, yes.
yeah. But
So
anything 2020 July 2020 and to present,
mhm,
it's all got a lifetime warranty. So if anything breaks, I mean it's just let me know.
cool. But yeah, it
I'm
wouldn't
there.
hurt for me to have a few here. That way I don't have to bother you every time. I can just get them out right then, hit a button, and it's
Mhm.
done. But
That's fine.
I
If you
don't
want
need
to do that, it's
many.
fine.
You
I
know,
can
a
send you a bunch of
couple.
stuff.
I don't need I don't need many. I just need like 2 or 3. You know, if I catch somebody in a bind, I can have it out to them the next morning. That way I don't have to hassle
Okay.
you. So
Yeah, just send me a
cool.
list of what you want, and I'll send it
Okay.
out to you.
Roger that.
Hey, Travis,
Yeah,
was it you who I was talking to last week or 2 weeks ago about CNC machines?
possibly. I've got a couple.
So I found one on the market. I just wanted to share it with you. I'm going to take a look at one next week. It's by, believe it or not, the name of the company is called Yeti.
It's called what?
Yeti, like
Like the cups?
monk,
Okay.
but it's not that company. They're based in the UK, and instead of them using an overhead gantry, they use rack and pinions built into the head unit to squeeze it to the work surface. It's kind of wild.
Huh.
It's coming in at
Interesting.
about a little less than half the price of a CNC, like a decent CNC, and everybody's giving it rave reviews. Yeah, I think mine's
Come on, Brian, make your computer run faster.
It's not that. I finally have gigabit. I don't know what's going on. It's their site, I think. Let me go back and find a different link. Is it the Smart Bench? Here we go. Let's look at this one. That looks like a US site that's selling them.
Here's the YouTube video. I just put it in the chat window to everybody.
Oh, okay.
But everybody's getting the Smart Bench Pro. Nobody's getting the entry level or the mid-grade level because literally for like $1,000 more, you're going straight to the top of the line router in the head unit.
Have you
But
seen those wall mounted ones where they're kind
Yeah,
of at a
Oh,
like a
yeah. Well,
45
they're on
degree
a cable.
angle, and
Yeah, and they're
yeah,
on
and
a
it kind
cable.
of yeah, that thing
Yeah,
looks
that's.
awesome, man. I don't know how
Man,
that
that's low.
works, but that looks
Yeah.
awesome.
so
I wonder about that. I wonder
Well,
about that thing.
it's the same way they've been doing like positioning cameras at like where they had the cameras at
The
football
NFL
games.
or whatever. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they can do it very accurate, very fast, right? But that one, I noticed when you pulled it up, so at the $7,000 starting price point, it still has a router in it rather than an actual spindle.
yeah, and I'm not a big fan of ones that run actual routers. I'd much rather have a spindle. They just
I
have a
had
lot more
one.
The one,
power, take up a lot less room, and
I had
are
one that had sorry.
oh,
I had one that
but
had the router in it, and the problem I had with it was it jumps a lot. It's not rigid enough. The mount and everything's not rigid enough to hold it. Is a problem
yeah,
that I ran into when I had one. I got rid of it
yeah. I
as
ended
quick as
up
I could.
even on my spindle, I ended up putting on dual mounts. I've got a 1-inch thick mount and then a 3-inch thick mount up towards the top.
Oh
So that
wow,
thing's not moving anywhere.
that ought to hold it.
Yeah.
Neat.
Well, I mean, this spindle's freaking 12 pounds on mine, so you know.
Yeah, that site's not wanting to load good. So anyway, yeah, we've got that link to that video. I'll check that out. I don't need to look at stuff like that because I don't need things like that. But whenever I watch things, so then I get antsy.
I try to do away with all the messy stuff. That's why I don't have a CNC anymore or anything like that.
Yeah. Well, if I had a
And then I'm
CNC
sorry.
machine, it wouldn't be messy. I'd probably never use it. Go ahead, Jamie.
Yeah, I'm sorry for the interruption again.
Oh, you're
I've
good.
got 2 questions. One is a review. The camera is the Lightburn 85 view or something like that. My wife's writing notes.
I think I linked it just a minute ago, or did I? About the Thundercam article.
Yeah, you did.
What size
did I?
laser,
Yeah.
Jamie?
It's either going to be an 85 or a 120, and depending on the machine. So if it's a Nova 51 or a Nova 63, you'll get the 120, and if it's anything else, you'll get the 85.
85. Okay. And then now you also need to buy the mounting clip or something like that for that, right? Because what you get in that kit is just the camera, the computer board, and then the USB cable, right? You don't get the actual mount that mounts to the door of the 35.
Our Thundercam kit comes with everything you need to put the camera in: the mount, the peripherals, the USB adapters that are needed so that you can get the camera cable to exit without drilling a hole. All of that stuff. If you go your own route, you're going to have to figure all that out yourself.
Yeah.
However you want to hook the Lightburn cam up is totally fine.
Right. Okay. And then the side note beyond the laser itself, I guess, is where do you guys go to source some of your materials? I mean, people are just going through.
Yeah, that's a trade secret.
I mean, is there any these tumblers like crazy specific place or what?
So if you want Yetis, you're gonna buy them through Yeti, right? Arctic, you can get bulk pricing directly from Arctic. A lot of people use JDS. If you've got a EIN number and a tax ID as a business, you can buy Polar Camels through JDS. Save a Cup's a good one. Maker Flow's a good one. There's Johnson Plastics. There's a lot of them out there. It comes down to what you're looking to do, right? My wife does not like the JDS stuff. It's not pretty enough for her, so we do stuff from like Save a Cup where it's got sparkly, glittery stuff that's more, we'll say, feminine or pretty, whereas the JDS stuff is perfectly fine for me.
I'll second and back that one up. I don't run any JDS products at all. I can't stand JDS at all.
Why is that, Travis?
So 100% of everything JDS does, all they are is a glorified importer. So they don't manufacture anything themselves. Polar Camel is not. Everyone thinks Polar Camel is a JDS brand. It's not. You can buy Polar Camel other places than JDS.
Right.
And those of you who have been around for a while, JDS, I feel they put a lot of liability back on their clients that buy from them. So here a couple of years ago, they had a huge deal go on that almost turned really bad. Polar Camel got sued by Yeti, and it drug JDS in, and then the Yeti also subpoenaed all of JDS's records on every Polar Camel they had ever sold, and they were originally planning on going after each individual hobbyist who had ever bought them.
Wow.
Luckily, JDS settled. There's a multi-million-dollar settlement, but JDS did settle on it and kept their clients out of it. But something like that, for a company the size of JDS, that should have never happened in the first place.
Absolutely.
So,
who then, Travis? Who would you use instead of JDS?
It really depends on what you're looking for. So we're working on getting set up so we can actually resell our own stuff. But we do a lot of importing from different manufacturers over in. I've been trying to get away from China. I've been going over to Pakistan and Vietnam a lot more. And but the one that I really like is I like Johnson's Plastics. They do a lot of my supplying, and they are phenomenal to work with.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, a company like JDS, when you're that size, I'm sorry, you shouldn't ever have to question whether or not you're going to get sued because of something you're buying from a company like JDS.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're sourcing from Vietnam or other places, are you using like AliExpress or one of those?
So I've been doing it long enough that I'm dealing straight with the manufacturers.
Okay.
But yeah, when I started, I was doing through AliExpress and Alibaba.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, now, I mean, and as you get more comfortable and learn how to, their time zones and how the actual manufacturers work and all that kind of stuff, you can start sourcing directly with the manufacturers. But to start off, definitely AliExpress and Alibaba if you want to try importing. Just keep in mind, it's hit or miss whether or not you have to pay import tariffs. With a lot of the COVID relief bills, they have snuck in a ton of extra tariff taxes, and they are not outlined anywhere on the USDA's website. So it's kind of a crapshoot. So sometimes you'll receive your product, and then 30 days later, you'll receive a bill from FedEx in the mail saying, "Oh, here's your import tariffs that are due on that." So yeah, we've ran into that a bit too. I was actually talking to Jim about this yesterday. But yeah, we do import quite a bit of stuff. But yeah, we're getting ready to set up, and we used to do sublimation blanks, and we're going to get back into doing sublimation blanks as well as laser engraving blanks. So yeah, just keep an eye out for that. I mean, all of our stuff almost all of it is custom made for us. We do have a couple products that are just general products that anyone can get. But the nice thing with us is you can buy one, you can buy 100, it doesn't matter.
Keep us posted for sure.
Jeremy, where was your sparkly cups from?
Save a Cup was one of them. Maker Flow is another one.
You had any problems with the sparkly cups engraving them?
They are not as consistent, right? They tend to have a little bit more cleanup. And what I noticed is some of the steel under it isn't as pretty. So like on some of them, they have almost like a darker stainless. So rather than the shiny stainless, it's almost like a darker stainless. But and before anyone says it's not because I burn it, right? It's actually like the inside of the cup where it's not the coated stainless is a darker stainless as well. So yeah, it's kind of hit or miss there. They did come out with a new maker version that they've revitalized or revised their coating that's meant to be more engraver friendly. So I'm guessing they had some feedback that they were having challenges with laser. But I've not tried those ones yet. I still got a few of the other ones left.
Yeah, one thing to keep an eye on with those glitter ones is you have to actually, if you're buying from somewhere and they can't tell you this, you need to find somewhere else to buy. You need to make sure that the glitter is a poly-based glitter and not a PVC-based glitter.
Oh, come on. Chlorine gas, that's good stuff.
I know. So yeah, and typically you'll see if it's a super cheap one coming out of China, it's probably going to be a PVC based glitter. So like we have ones that I think we're going to be reselling, I think at like $8 a tumbler at just if you're just buying one, but they're kind of a hybrid tumbler, and that's what we're trying to do since we do sublimation blanks as well. You can sublimate them, you can laser engrave them. I have 3 different colors, and I've got the sample ones here. But they're also UV reactive, which is really cool. So you take them out in the sunlight and they shift colors. So they're really cool. But yeah, those ones we went through and made sure that they're 100% laser safe, all that. But I know exactly what Jeremy's talking about because the first sample set that we got, they didn't polish the stainless underneath the powder coating. And so when we got it in laser engraved, we're like, what the heck is this? We're sitting there trying to like, did I burn this? What the heck? Scrubbing. And but yeah, we've gotten that fixed. So now they are actually doing the brushed stainless underneath the powder coating and stuff.
That's funny.
Yep. And then another good brand, I think Brian had it pulled up, was Latazza, right? So I think that was Chris Lacasio started that and he since sold it, right?
And if you guys don't mind spending extra money for a high-end product, get a hold of a company called PMI. They're a little bit difficult to work with because they are a true wholesaler and they carry Stanley. They're the Stanley rep for North America.
Stanley makes good beer steins, right?
Yeah, dude, the Stanley ones, they engrave like a dream. And because they're ceramic coated on the inside, you don't get that metal taste or any of that stuff. We sent some down to test down into Arizona, where my dad lives. And it was 100 degrees outside. He went and put some ice water in it, set it out on his back porch. 2 days later, there was still ice in it. So, I mean, they are phenomenal, but they are price locked. So you buy them at wholesale and you can only have about a $3 range that you can adjust the pricing in. But to give you an idea, so here's Stanley Bierstein. They engrave just amazing.
That's Stanley, like Stanley tools, like the.
Yep.
Same-
And they
same
come with
style.
lifetime warranties on them. So if anything ever happens, they drop it off the roof of a building and it breaks. You know, you can send it back to PMI and they'll send you a new one to laser engrave and you give it to your client. So you're at a little bit of engraving time, but I bet you'll have a lifetime customer after that if you tell them, yeah, it's a lifetime warranty and we're actually able to honor it. So yeah, Stanley's been amazing to work with, and the fact that they're price locked is amazing because you don't have to sit there and fight with all the bottom barrel guys that are, you know, trying to push a tumbler down to $6 after laser engraving.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Now, and if you want to try some, right, but before going to PMI, you can get them on Amazon. I think they actually sell them at Home Depot and at Walmart. Right?
Yep. Well, and you can also get territory locks too. So we have a territory lock on Alaska. So there's only 2 companies up here that can sell them. One of them is a sporting goods place called REI up here. And they just have a limited range of it. We carry the full Stanley line as far as tumblers and coolers and all that stuff. And we're the only authorized people to actually engrave them up here. So even when people buy them at REI, they have to bring them over here to get engraved.
Interesting.
So, yeah, the only reason I say PMI is a little difficult to work with is just because they are a true wholesale account. That's all they deal with. So just getting your initial account set up and then maintaining it can be entertaining. And was it last year that we had the issues with the colors? Was that the year before?
Year before was
There are
issued
minimum order,
staffing issue.
minimum orders you have to maintain your account, Travis.
Not really. Once
No.
you're set up and after you do your first initial order, you're pretty much good as gold. There wasn't an initial minimum order, which I think was $2,000, I think.
Okay.
Through who?
But what was that?
Through who?
For PMI.
Through PMI.
Oh,
But they rep more than Stanley too, which is really nice. So they're just a primary rep company, but you know, and they've been great to deal with. 2 years ago, they had some issues where they produced out our catalog. We sent it out to our clients. Clients go, yeah, we love the new colors. Let's do these, and these. We go to order them and they go, oh yeah, we changed our entire color line after we produced the new catalog. So none of the colors in the new catalog are available. I'm like, oh, come on, guys.
You can call that the colorblind collection.
Yeah, exactly. You know, sometimes you'll have little things like that, but
Little things, yeah.
that's a pretty big thing.
It's just color, right? Nobody's worried about that.
but you know, the other nice thing with Stanley is, you know, they make sure on all their price lock stuff, your minimum margin is 40% margin. So most of their stuff is around the 50% territory, which is great. I mean, that's what I try to shoot for, is at least 50%. But yeah, I mean, even their coolers surpass a Yeti cooler hands down any day of the week.
Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, their stuff is just amazing.
So I have a tech question, Brian.
Okay.
The other day I wanted to take a look at the tube while it was firing. So I went online and I followed the procedure for disabling the door alarms. Wondering how to reset it.
You either push button 6 again or turn the machine off and back on.
Okay. Well, push the button 6 times, you're saying?
No, that's button number 6 that you're pressing to turn off, to bypass the interlocks. You know, originally all you do is push it again and it'll disable, or you can just turn the machine off and back on and it'll disable it.
Okay,
or
that's kind of
re-enable
what I
the
thought, but-
safety.
Yeah.
Which
Turn it
safeties
back
are you
on.
talking about? The door?
What? Yeah, the one that turns the doors off, but it doesn't seem
You
to
can
be,
do that through Lightburn.
No, don't do it through Lightburn.
Yeah,
You'll forget to turn it back on.
Yeah,
We have a
usually
board
what I do-
specifically for that.
Yeah, usually what
Oh.
I do to disable those is I set a little magnet on top of the sensor. Works great.
Yeah, but the door
Yeah, no,
sensing board.
disabling wasn't the problem. I was able to disable it. I'm trying to
It's getting it back on.
turn it back on, and that's not working.
So it says if you press button 6, it will ease the use of your laser machine. Control sensors.
That sounds
You'll
like
have
a bad
to.
translation.
Yeah. What happens when you cycle the power off? Now, are you saying that your interlocks are still defeated when they shouldn't be? Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying. I can't reset them
so that they work again.
Extremely successful in defeating them.
I've turned them off, but I can't turn them back on.
Did you try
Have you
unplugging the
powered
machine
the
and
laser
plugging it
off
back
and
in?
back on?
I didn't try unplugging it, but I have cycled the power on and off several times since I did that.
There you go, Jim.
My first inclination was to to press the button again.
Right. That's normally how it works. If it's not, then you probably ought to email support and let's handle it through there. If it's any farther than this right here, that'll be the best place to do it, so we can collaborate with it, and I can get you what you need if you need something.
Okay, not a major thing, but yeah, I got a couple of kids in the house, and I just wanted to make sure that it was as safe as possible.
I was like, how are you turning it off? Right? How are you actually turning it off? Because you've got
just with the power switch. I didn't try the unplugging method, but I'll give that a shot too before I write it.
Because you got the breakers inside as well, right? So I'm not sure where.
The main power switch switches line and neutral both off. That's effectively the same thing as unplugging it from the wall, so you don't have to go to that trouble.
Okay.
You may that thing should, as soon as you cycle power off on, it should reset. If it's not, there may be a problem with the maintenance board.
Okay. Yeah, I did it a few days ago, and I've recycled on and off several times. And
yeah, we can check that out.
I've got a question for you too.
Sure.
Last week you talked about your article on laser gods for the support tech thing. I went to go look at it, and that form you showed, I can't get to it. Is that
really
just me, or is that everybody?
Nah, I don't know. It's probably everybody. I'll go back in there and look at that this evening and fix it.
I tried to message you privately, but you decided to ignore me on Facebook. So
he doesn't.
It is what it is.
Private messages.
He ignores everybody on Facebook.
So is that the problem? Okay.
Yeah. If you have to talk
Brian,
to
you
him,
muted yourself.
All right, y'all have a good one.
Yeah. All right, man. I don't use Facebook Messenger or any social media messaging because it's the most horrible way ever to do support through a text or a chat because, and the other thing is I can't even talk to my friends anymore on my private messaging because there's like 500 messages a day. So instead of going through all of those and saying, sorry, I can't answer, I'm just going to ignore everyone. And that's the way I've been playing it for a while. So it's nothing personal. I just can't manage it.
Makes sense.
That's because you're too popular.
So, I'd highly doubt
that. That's the reason for your article, huh?
Yeah, right, exactly. So,
hey, real quick, I remember you guys were talking about tumblers and mugs. I worked out a deal with my local Walmart manager. He sells them to me at like 30% off.
No shit.
Well, you gotta buy in bulk, but I think at least a gross of the same color.
Yeah, but
that's actually a neat point because I always overlook the fact of some of these big box places because you think there's so much corporate stuff and red tape in the way that it wouldn't do any good to ask. But then you see Aunt Jean's apple pies sitting there that she makes at home, at the checkout. So that's a good point. Yeah.
Especially if you're in a smaller town, right? In a big city where there's 50 of them, and they might compete a bit more. But you're out in the middle of nowhere like I am. Yeah, you can do a lot more with them.
Yeah.
I've seen at Costco a couple of weeks ago. Costco was selling 2 packs of their Coleman. I think they were 12 or 14 ounce tumblers. They were $10 for a 2-pack.
I saw that.
Nice, good quality stuff. It's got like a bottle opener on the bottom of the thing built into it, and 2 for $10. I don't have a rotary, so I didn't. But I looked at it and I thought, maybe I should get buy these so that I have an excuse to get the rotary. But
you can do a lot of logos and stuff without a rotary, or even a line of text down the
Yeah.
front that's not very wide. You can do
Right,
that
yeah.
with that rotary.
Well, and if you have the 4-inch lens, it gives you
the stand to support it so it doesn't roll. But
A
it's
bag of
doable.
rice
Sorry
works
about
good or something.
Yeah, rice. Yeah.
Well, then
Beans.
since I've gotten this machine, all I'm doing is spending money. So I
Good.
gotta start prioritizing.
it's like a boat.
Feel you on that one.
Oh no, trust me, I have a 28-foot boat. Yeah, a lot more money goes into a boat.
Yeah.
Well, I
Wait,
built
yeah.
2 of
Don't
those
feel bad. At
K40.
least you have the machine. I don't even have the machine yet, and I'm spending a lot of money.
You'll
Yeah.
get there.
It's never going to end though.
You're getting it out of the way before the machine gets there. I waited like a dummy. I should have.
Yeah, well,
but-
my Thunder machine is on a boat, and it's waiting out at the port of LA, I guess, or something like that. But
Yeah.
what
a
got me
bit
hooked
behind.
was the cheesy K40, and I've got a cheesy K40 that we fart around with. I put a little bit of money into it, some air assist and stuff, but it's a lot of fun. So I can't wait for the Thunder.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, that was the
You're
one
gonna be
thing, because
blown
I built
away.
a couple of those K40s, and I ended up putting about 1,600 a piece in them. Putting Cohesion 3D boards in them, and I bought the rotary from Ray and everything, and chillers and all that stuff. And that was really neat, but it's really hard when I come to Thunder because I am a modder. I like to do that. And there's really nothing to model
don't have
with
anything
Thunder
to
except
mod.
throwing air on it, And so I started, we started doing that regulator thing, and I mounted it on the front, and I quickly had to squash that because everybody's drilling holes in the front of their machine, which if they want to, that's fine. But they were under the impression that was the only place to put it, I think. So I amended that a little bit. But it's hard to say you don't have to, upgrade these. I mean, there are things you can do to enhance the performance, but it's so weird to have a laser and then you don't have to think about that stuff unless you just really want to go all out on it. Put the remote sensor or I've got the remote current, that remote meter, for the MYJG series power supply up front, but you don't need it because they're calibrated. You don't have to worry about burning up your tube. So
Yeah, with you having that meter on there, I'm sure you've been looking at it since you put it on there. I mean, you haven't noticed anything to speak of, right?
No, and when it's engraving, it's hard to follow. There's a little bit of lag there anyway on that digital thing. I like watching the K40 analog meters, or the Nova 24 has an analog still. But I like watching, even on my CBs, I liked an analog meter. I like to watch it swing. I get more info on that than I do some digits changing around,
Yeah.
But I haven't noticed anything. When
Trend
it's
line,
engraving, of
Ryan.
course, it's all over the place. So,
Right.
Chart plotter with a trend line.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's funny.
Here we
Check
go.
this out.
So
I got a
I got an
defibrillator.
oscilloscope hooked up to it.
No, it's a defibrillator, dude. Paddles and all.
That is an old beast, man.
Yeah, and it's heavy
Clear.
as hell. And
That's
it all
cool,
works.
Yeah.
And
Does it?
but
when you take
you
the
know what else
paddles out,
works?
does it talk to you?
The graph still works. The pen
There you
needs
go.
to be inked,
And
but
you,
it's
and you
still
found
on there.
paper for it?
And it's
I
got
don't
the
know if I
paper
can
one,
find
right?
paper or not. Yeah, it's got the paper one. But this thing
Nice.
actually works, dude. I paid $25 for it.
All the heart attacks I've had, I probably should have one of those here.
Dude, go to, this is what you do,
Jim's
Brian.
got
Go to
DVD
Costco,
that
buy
he
a
just
roll
straps
of
on.
picture paper, and then just put it on your laser and slice it into the sizes you need.
Yeah,
Won't that work?
exactly. I think so.
Put it on the rotary and,
Absolutely.
James Bond it.
But I'm gonna jump off here, guys. I gotta get on here and check out a couple of these things. Does anybody want me to pass the torch?
Yeah,
keep it
throw it
on.
Jim will volunteer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey,
After
do we
make-
have any
Just make that the
fiber
default.
laser guys on here?
Jeremy,
What's that?
yeah, I was going to talk to you about that, Travis. Don't worry.
All right, you guys take care. I'll catch you next week. Holler
All right.
if you need
All
me.
right, thanks.
Brian.
Yeah, we're not.
See
Hey,
you later.
Brian, you don't want me to record this, do you?
No,
Hang
turn
on.
off the recording.
Yeah,